Listening on Audible helps your imagination soar. Whether you listen to stories, motivation, any genre you love, you can be inspired to imagine new worlds, new possibilities, new ways of thinking. Maybe you'll find inspiration in the incredible true story of Black female mathematicians at NASA in Hidden Figures, or the fantasy world of Throne of Glass. There's more to imagine when you listen. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Hello, welcome. Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
I think this is a thing kids say, like in bad relationships, they are crumbed or they're following a crumb trail. Crumbing.
Crummy.
There's some kind of saying. I don't know what it is. I've been crumbed. But you know what I mean. Crumbing. Accepting crumbs rather than loaf.
Right. Because that's what you think you deserve. Or...
Yeah. It just occurred to me, like, it kind of adds a little metaphor of religion in there. Like, thinking about how we all have to share Jesus' body. We don't get our own loaf.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm off the rails.
That's good.
I'm sorry. I just started thinking about Jesus's body as a bunch of like bread loaves.
It's hilarious.
Sorry.
I don't want any of those butt crumbs, that's for sure.
T's addicted to communion wafers. Have we talked about this on the show yet?
Oh my God.
T, tell him.
Well, no, so I was raised Catholic. I had communion. And, you're not supposed to eat like an hour before. So I was always kind of hungry. And so you'd get that crumb. And I loved it, the taste of it. And recently I found that you can just buy communion wafers like a bag of chips.
Where are you buying them? Do you have to go to a special like Catholic Supplies R Us? Like buy your Jesus wafers in bulk, or what is it?
Just on Amazon. I just bought two bags. It's so good. It's that plain, really plain flavor of nothingness. That's like, but it's got a nice crunch to it. I don't know. I'm trying to stop, actually, because I'm starting to get a bit crazy. Like, I crave it.
Would it be extra blasphemous if they had started making them in, like, garlic and rosemary? Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg, here with Therese Garcia.
Hello.
And today we're discussing This Is Actually Happening, episode 307, What If You Fell Hard for the Scam? And this is a working title. I don't know if it changed. Brief synopsis. Donna was left by her parents in Jamaica when she was only just a baby. She grew up poor, raised by her grandparents, and longing for her parents to return. Part of her experience includes the practice of obia, voodoo, which was used to save her life when her childhood friend falsely accused her of violence. She was betrayed by that friend, but seemingly saved by this occult act. She finally moved to the U.S. when she was 14, but her mother had gone from cold to ice cold and was solely moved by religion. Donna was bullied relentlessly in school and oppressed by this church, but found release and freedom in singing and acting. Over her life, she faces 3 devastating romantic relationships with men who use, manipulate, and lie. But all the while, she keeps pushing herself in education and in her career, and she soars despite these weak men trying to siphon all they can from her. It is her last relationship where she finally fights back and attempts some justice for herself. She now coaches women on how to escape victimhood. She takes care of herself first. She is enough. She has always been enough. And full disclosure, I am the showrunner for This Is Actually Happening, and T knows nothing about anything. She comes in fresh. And this show, Trauma Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. T, what stuck out to you is the heart of Donna's story.
Before I jump into that, I just wanted to say I thought your synopsis was beautiful, particularly the end.
Oh, thank you. If anyone works for a company where they could use a synopsizer,
I'm a synopsizer.
I work cheap. I work hard. I work cheap.
Oh, she's cheap, all right. As for the heart of the story, I went with one word for this one: worth. So, as we know, she learned to know and value her own worth, right? There's also worth, like as it is, like monetary, right? Worth. And the idea that she felt like she might need to like buy people or fund in order to keep them. You know, it got me thinking about what is love worth, what is friendship worth, all the way down to her friend Naomi who betrayed her.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the parent that really did it, but all in order to extort the parents for money. Is money worth more than friendship or love? And then, of course, your worth as a person.
Yeah, that's good. Well, unfortunately, so much of our way that we navigate the world is built around money. How to get it, how to get more of it, how to use it, who to give it to, what do we get for it. It's one of those unescapable things, unfortunately.
And then sometimes people parallel it to what their own worth is.
Yeah. Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Status, keeping up with the neighbors, looking back on your life and going, did I keep increasing my wealth? You know, as opposed to always having nothing and always having to start over and over again. Money, what does money mean in the term worth? That's also interesting because the dollar isn't worth as much as it used to be.
Oh, here we go.
Not to get political.
But money symbolizes, is security.
It's hard to walk a perfect line where it is relationships are based on pure love or camaraderie or companionship, and there isn't an element of money involved. And I suppose even thinking about being a provider, which has traditionally been a man's point of view, if they provide, then they have worth as a spouse or a parent. But she looks at it as, you know, she's grown up poor. She has a tenable relationship with money, but she's extremely smart and willful. And so she's always going to keep pursuing education and career opportunities. Like, that's inherent in her, obviously. And it comes to her not easily. She works very hard for it, but she seems to be a goal-oriented person that gets what she wants. She's quite capable. And it seems that she goes through times when that in and of itself is what she thinks makes her worthy to be a partner, that she has something to give, a house, a car, a nice meal out. But she's so much more than that. My hearts, I have a few hearts, and a couple are things that she said that just I thought, oh, perfect encapsulation of ideas. Talking about accepting crumbs rather than the loaf. Another one is this idea of being trapped by empathy. She clearly is an empathetic person, and she keeps, like, because of her empathy, when these guys tell her their stories of why they've done the things they've done, instead of her going, okay, bye, like, she's understanding, and she accepts them and gives them more chances. And to me, this is like a trap of empathy. And anytime that you kind of are putting yourself out to accommodate someone else's need, I think that you might be running into an empathy trap.
Yeah, but I mean, if you see on a background check that somebody 30 years ago spent time in prison for something, you see it on paper.
Yeah.
There's a story behind it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me, like when she was, because I had no idea where the story was even going. So I didn't know the title, as I never did. But to me, it made sense. He was like, people just, throw me away like garbage when they hear that. It was 30 years ago. They were poor.
Yeah.
He was trying to feed his family. If you didn't know that he was a scammer scamming you, telling you this to get $100,000, $300,000 or whatever, it makes perfect sense. And he did his time, right?
Yeah.
So legally, he's a free man. What would you do if you had a poor family and you had an opportunity to do it and you thought you'd get some money to do that,
I know. It's...
maybe he tried to get a job. We don't know, right? But first thing, I probably wouldn't rob a bank.
Right.
But who knows? Yeah.
But do you think that an empathy trap is a real thing?
Well, I think this was an empathy trap.
But are you saying you can't know until you get past it and look back and see it? Are you saying that, no, she could have never known? Like, of course, she's going to accept his story as it is, and she's going to have the same fate. Like, there wasn't like a fork in the road where she's like, okay, I'm gonna stay with this guy because I believe what he's saying, versus, well, no matter what he's saying, I'm not falling for it. I'm out. Because looking back on it now, it's clear that it was all manipulation.
Yeah.
He was taking advantage of her being an empathetic person and saying all the right things.
Oh, yeah.
Basically saying, everyone discards me like a piece of garbage. Are you gonna all discard me like a piece of
you're different,
garbage?
right?
Right.
Yeah.
In the moment, could she have seen it for what it was? Or is it only in retrospect that we get that kind of revision? Think about it.
That's a toughie there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it again.
Think about it. Let's think about it.
And then my other heart was, the big one was for me that she pointed out a couple times, is she said, kids are seen and not heard, or they speak when spoken to, but they answer when called. She's the type of person that answers when called.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
And that's how she was raised. I mean, she really was exactly who she was raised to be. But let's get into the stuff.
Okay, let's get into it.
So she says that she was abandoned basically as a baby. And to me, she doesn't say it explicitly, but this rings true of what happens to a lot of people in poor countries around the world, is parents leave their children with other family to go pursue economic opportunity elsewhere. And it's not because they're abandoning their children or they don't love their children. It's because they absolutely do love their children, and they're sacrificing their togetherness so that they can have more economic stability. And I assume that that's sort of what has happened here, even though she doesn't explicitly say it. But as a kid, she doesn't know that. She just knows that she desires to know her parents, and they're gone away. And And it's the only thing, like, it's the only thing that she cares about. She just wants to be close to her parents, and she's reconciling in herself. You know, she says it herself, if your mother doesn't love you, then no one can. And then it's only like made, I think, more, it only is, that idea is only strengthened in her because when her mom does come to visit, instead of it being like warm and cuddly and I missed you and I can't wait to see you again, it's very cold. It feels almost just like pragmatic, like the mother is trying to keep them both from suffering, right? So she realizes she's left to do a job to send money back. She comes with shoes and t-shirts, and you know, it's like it's a mother's pragmatist way. It's a mother's practical way. And there isn't cuddling, and there isn't I'm going to miss you and I love you, because she perceives that that's only going to make it worse on them.
Yeah.
If we're giving the mother like the real benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, for someone who has to leave their children for many, many months, years at a time to provide for them, I would imagine it would be really sad. But in order to function and work and be able to do that for your children, you have to distance yourself, not only physically, but emotionally as well.
Steel yourself. Steal them. She's not giving any false illusions to her daughter about the way the world works.
Yeah. She's probably not like a Wall Street managing director.
Right.
You know, so could also be some resentment. I don't know what it might be, but you have to distance yourself to survive. I
mean, no matter what, Donna is never going to be able to have perspective on that. You know, she is a kid. She's feeling the natural feelings that a kid feels.
Oh, yeah.
She just wants to be loved. She
wants to be hugged.
She wants to be hugged. She sees how other families have their parents at home. Why aren't her parents at home? They exist. They just live elsewhere. Like, there's all of these things that no one's going to explain it to her. She's just a kid, you know? And so she just keeps abiding by this. I'm not going to speak until I'm spoken to, and I'll answer when I'm called. And I don't get to ask questions.
Well, let's explain it, because she's so sad, you know?
Yeah, but kids don't get explained this stuff back then. Just is.
I know. And
it's so sad. And of course, she feels so isolated and so alone. And she has a sibling, but her sibling's not in the same town. Like, who do you talk to? Who do you feel close with? Who do you have these discussions with to make you understand there is no hope for her? All of this stuff is internalized, and it's there to stay, and it's going to come with her now and inform so many years of her life. Let's talk about Naomi.
Yeah.
Her friend Naomi gets hit by a car, is in a coma. And this is really devastating to Donna, because this is a dear friend of hers. And when her dear friend finally comes to, it's not, oh, I missed you. It's, oh, you did this to me. And, you know, it's revealed that Naomi's grandma put her up to basically saying these lies so that they could try to get money from her parents who are abroad. And so she's feeling, you know, and what she comes away with this is this betrayal, this huge feeling of betrayal from a person that she truly loved. Maybe her first relationship out of her home that she truly loved and trusted. And now she's betrayed.
But the friend did fess up.
Well, when hell was put on the table.
Well, you know, she's getting pressure from her family to say a certain thing.
I mean, but I doubt that their relationship was ever recovered.
It doesn't seem it was.
I mean, what do you think Donna's takeaway is from this chicken blood ritual?
Oh my God.
Do you think that it instilled in her the idea that that ritual or religion or whatever it is, like, works?
I was going to say that didn't work.
That one worked.
Well, I mean, she didn't die in Seven Sunsets, so But she did have friends betray her.
Yeah, but she's still alive. I mean, I think she walks away from that experience going, religion works and people can't be trusted. I'm alone. It's me and God and it's me and religion and that's it. No?
Well, it doesn't seem that she, when she, has to be in the church with her mom, she doesn't seem to be that into it.
No, I know.
But you think like right after it happened, like the ritual happened, do you think that was her takeaway?
I think these seeds are planted. We might be able to shake them off eventually, but I do think these seeds are planted. Even if she didn't fully go for it, there's a moment where she mentions, when she gets married to the meter man and she's walking down the aisle knowing the dipshit has kicked her and slapped her and terrorized her and she's scared of him. And she says, though, but as far as religion goes, it's the righteous thing to do. So even if she's not living in a day-to-day, I am religious, let me read my rosary, this is what religious trauma does to people. It's these little things that we're exposed to as kids and we don't know how it's going to show up in us later. And you have to actually make the effort to root it out to get away from it. Otherwise, it will always influence everything that you do, I believe.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm still eating those wafers, right?
Is that you trying to get the Eucharist?
Anything will help, right?
So she, at 14, she moves to America. And now her mom is ice cold. It sounds like there was never any hopes of being close to her. And of course, she's way down deep in religion. And the religion that she describes, I would guess, would probably be Pentecostalism, maybe apostolic.
Ugh. Sounds awful.
Terrible.
No TV? No pants?
Can't wear pants.
Can't wear pants. Okay. No secular music. What, I can't listen to Paula Abdul?
What was the first secular album you ever bought?
You mean the first album I bought?
You weren't forced into Christian music as a kid?
Well, we were Catholic.
So just hymns?
Yeah, we listened to that, but we
didn't get Christian music artists?
No, we didn't do that. Yeah, I think my first album or single maybe was Whitney Houston. Paula Abdul came, soon after. Janet Jackson.
My first secular album I ever bought was Bobby Brown, Dance You Know It.
Yes.
It was a cassette tape. Mm-hmm. And I hid it in my underwear drawer. Can we talk a minute about Janet Jackson?
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about her before on the show. Huge fan.
Huge.
We're both huge fans of Janet.
Thanks for listening, Janet.
Dreams. This is the year that it's happening. It's the 20th anniversary of when her career started going the shitter because Justin Timberlake ripped her shirt off and never stood up for her, basically threw her under the bus. And that fascist at the top of CBS chain, Les Moonves, came after her, basically threw her under the bus as well. And Justin Timberlake recently came out saying that he's not sorry about anything. And I guess he's pissed because Britney's fans.
Anything in general? Or anything about Janet Jackson?
Yeah, he's not sorry about anything that had to do with Britney.
Oh, wow. Nothing.
He's such a dick.
Let's not talk about it.
You don't like Justin Timberlake, do you? I've had this fight with Nate and Whit. Justin Timberlake, he's such a douche. Everything about him is disingenuous. He's gross. Anyway, she's got the lead in the church play, which I can only assume was something akin to the Passion Play.
Well, the Passion Play.
Yeah. And she's weeping. She leaves the stage. She's weeping. She's weeping for so many things, not just, the feet of Jesus. And she gets her first male hug. That's a big deal.
Yeah. It's huge.
And of course, she's in this backward ass religion where you can't date, you can only marry. And you have to ask the pastor if it's okay, if he can talk to God for you and find out because it's okay for you to marry.
Goes to God.
Can I just say that religion is such a joke, you guys. Like, it's so obviously a system set up by a patriarchy, and it gives you no value as a woman. And they are not special. A priest isn't special. A pastor isn't special. None of these people are. They're just regular people.
They like the power.
If you read the Bible, it says Jesus is the one that ministers to God for you. Any of us can go to Jesus. We don't need a man outside of Jesus to do it. I could set something on fire thinking about how many of my life's decisions were given over to a pastor who claimed that they had direct communication with God. It's a special kind of sick sin that I think should be punished for all eternity. And I'm not saying exactly that I want them to burn in hell, but I want them to at least have some regret.
But wouldn't you say that they believe what they're saying? Or do you think they're just the biggest scam artists in the world?
I don't even know anymore.
It's confusing.
I
like when you talk with one.
I want to give the people the benefit of the doubt and saying they must think they're doing good, but then you just see everything they're doing and it's like so obviously not good. And it's like, you're the ultimate scam artist.
Yeah.
And I mean no disrespect to my brother-in-law. My sister,
my cousin.
Katie Capel.
Thanks, Katie, for those Instagram.
Katie makes our Instagram posts. She's a pastor. She's
great.
A woman. She's got a heart of God.
See, they believe it.
They do, and they live what they believe. Anyway, it just chaps my hide so bad. I just look back and think about how many of my life's decisions I gave over to the hands of some asshole that didn't even know me. I just can't get over it. I'm just so mad about it.
You didn't laugh at my joke during my sermon. Were you not listening?
Are you tithing your full 10%? Is that off the gross or the net? I need to get over it. I think I need to talk to a therapist about this.
Yeah, I think so too. You're out of it now. It's great.
It just took me so long. And I see how religion corrupts mankind all over the world for centuries and today. And
oh my God, let's not even go there.
It's the biggest lie ever perpetuated on humanity and convince people they can't think for themselves.
It's that brainwashing, and we fall for it because we all want to understand our world, and we do not have the depth to be able to do it because it is ununderstandable. And instead of us just going, it's ununderstandable, we're like, oh, this guy will tell me how to understand it. Oh, excuse me, I get it. Oh, I get it. So were they assuming then that they had done something at her mom's house?
She gets called in the pastor's office and is basically said to her, how dare you disrespect your mother's house? So I think the mother must have reported they must be doing something in my house. How else would they have found each other kind of thing? I don't know. And this is the exact sort of situation that causes someone to run away. And that's what she does. She clings to this man who's hugged her for the first time and runs off with him. And by all accounts, he is her savior. She says the first year with him is wedded bliss. He shows her the world. He gives her music and TV and pants and movies. And then he gets over it. She has a daughter. She gains weight.
I mean, what kind of asshole? Well, you gained weight, so.
But he's a loser. He loses jobs. He's going out every night. And you know what she's doing? She's still going to school. Mm-hmm. She's still working. She's still training. She's still raising her daughter. And this is, I just want to say for a second, she's already a badass.
Yeah.
She's 19, 20, 21 years old. She thinks she's shit because this loser left her. But she's a fucking badass. She has the courage to leave his ass. with $50 in a shit car. And you know what? Women make this shit happen all the time. If you're listening to us and you've ever been courageous or brave or industrious or resourceful or used your relationships to get out of something, or you were motivated by the love of your kids and yourself to leave a situation with nothing and you made it work, like, shout out to you. There's so many women that have done this for themselves.
It's so difficult.
And they get no credit because they don't make a big stink about it because they're just living, you know? They make shit happen for them and theirs, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So she's already a badass. He's a loser. Fuck him. So she leaves the hugger. She meets Meter Man. And ultimately, she only really calls him because she's really hungry and wants a meal out, is what I took away from it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, gosh. But now she's got her walls up a bit. Not trusting as much.
She's been burned. So she noticed. She's got red flag meters. She notices the toys in the trunk, etc. Oh, she lives with his aunt.
Oh.
And she's going to investigate.
I love it.
And what does she find out?
I love how she investigates, too.
Yeah. Because she's a smart bitch.
She is.
And it was brilliant what she put together. And she breaks up. She does the right thing. She breaks up with him despite him calling and calling. And then
he tells his story.
And she gets sucked back in. And this, again, this is what I think is an empathy trap. Because he says he was forced to get married to her. He was, his mom confirms he was going to go to jail if he didn't, which I don't know what that has to do with Jehovah's Witnesses. That makes me think that maybe it was a statutory rape situation, but I don't know this guy. But I don't know. I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses can send you to prison for knocking someone up.
Yeah, I wanted to know that. That was confusing.
So she lets him back in. They're together for 7 years before she gets married to him. And she's walking down the aisle. And what is she thinking?
She's
scared of him.
That's a slow walk.
I mean, what do you do?
Well, she married him.
How do you make that walk, though? And you're thinking about it. It's not like she wasn't thinking about it. It's not like she looked back in hindsight. It was 2020. Like, she knows it. It's probably as bright of a memory to her as anything's ever been. She's walking down the aisle and cataloging all the ways that he's failed her, and she still marries him.
But Elly, she makes a lot more money than him. He's emasculated, He's a man. So
I haven't talked about that. She's a baller, and it's her fault that he feels emasculated, even though he takes full advantage of all her hard work.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem in the marriage, is that he makes her feel less than.
I like the growth, by the way, of the way that she leaves.
Yeah.
There's just that image of that shitty car she's in. It's just like dying, and she's like, I just need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then now she's really stepped it up. House on the market, divorce attorney, called Verizon. I loved it. She got it all set up.
She thought it through. She knew this weak, snowflake, fragile man that could not handle the cold truths about himself or her. She knew.
Oh,
that if she just left him and let the chaos happen, that she'd probably be dead or he'd burn her house down. She knows exactly how to manage him, like to keep him calm, and it is to keep him calm because she doesn't want the confrontation and the chaos. But I think it also is to assuage her own guilt. I'm sure she does feel guilt about divorcing a man, even though he deserves it. I did the same thing when I left my husband. He deserved to be left, but I let him have all of the furniture. I let him have the TV. I let him have the, camera, all the things that I paid for. And I said aloud, it was because all I cared about was me, and I just wanted to be free, and I didn't care about any of this stuff. But I really truly loved him, so I didn't want him to have nothing. But two, it was to assuage, it was like me paying penance for leaving my marriage.
I love that she made a fake offer letter too.
Oh no,
That's amazing.
so cool. She played that perfectly. And she even says she knows him, right? Well, baby, I'm going to LA. And he's like, I want to come. And she's like,
come on.
I know your ass will never get on a plane.
Let's do this. No? Oh, okay.
Whoa.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, you feel ready. Just chef's kiss. Brilliant.
I love that.
And she probably feels like super just accomplished in her own right. And this sets on her 8 years of her just being like the best that she can be. Just being with herself, working on herself, enjoying the fruits of her labor, running, cabaret, her beautiful apartment, her massages, knowing her daughter's thriving. She's so cool.
She's so cool.
She's living her best life. But guess what? The world's big fat couple, and she's not in one, and she feels like the odd guy out. She's lonely. She wants her person.
She's always wanted to have a connection with someone.
I know.
Yeah.
So she's going to give it one more go.
Javier de Leon.
Javier de Leon.
I love that she never says his name again, but she's like, we'll call him Javier.
He's a chauffeur. I don't care if it is to the stars. He's still a chauffeur.
Yeah.
Do you see how she still doesn't see what a badass she is? I mean, I think she's thinking, well, I've got mine. I don't care what he makes. But you would think that she'd want to be with someone in a balanced sort of way.
Yeah.
Right?
There must be dating services she could have tapped into that are more
like Millionaire Matchmaker kind of thing.
Yeah,
But maybe he says that it's his own company, it's his own chauffeur business. She's a fucking managing director, which is the highest thing you can get on Wall Street. And she has enough knowledge and experience to know she should have a background check. And ironically, she has the background check, but she doesn't do anything with it.
Well,
right? Why have the background check?
Well, just to see. And again, 30 years ago, there's a story.
Yep. 30 years ago, he robbed a bank. She confronts him. And what does he say? He lies. And honestly, that could have been that should have been the thing that she hung out on. Not that he robbed a bank 30 years ago and he's got a story. It's that he lied. And as soon as he saw that he couldn't get away with the lie, that's when he started his manipulation wheels spinning, right?
Yeah.
He threw the Innocence Project in there. There's so many men sitting in prison who are innocent. He threw, and she was like, no, I'm not buying it. And he was like, okay, well, actually, we're really poor. Again, setting another empathy trap for her. Poor, hungry. He knows her history. He knows that she knows what that is like to feel it. And the lying. But what about the lying, Javier de Leon? What about the lying?
The lying. Javier de lying.
Would you discard me like garbage? Are you the type? Will you discard me like garbage?
Yes.
And all of us want to go, no, we're not the type.
But yes.
And she lists all of their stuff they have together. She knows his family. He has a tattoo of her. She sees him being a good dad. He's practically living with her. And to our listeners, if this is you and you need to leave a situation, but you've got all this shit you can list that keeps you tied to him, look up the sunken cost fallacy. Sunken cost fallacy. Oh, it's a great fucking thing to get you out of relationships. Look it up. Get out of there. Just because you guys are on the same phone plan doesn't mean you have to stay with them.
Tattoo, though, gosh.
Who cares? Get a new one. So she has this, her boyfriend brings her this investment property opportunity in Connecticut. And he says, hey, it makes sense to pay the contractor in cash, get lower rates, right? This track.
It's cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, he's just pocketing this money. He's not using this money to renovate this home, but he really sells it to her that he is. He goes on and on about the garden that he had built. He goes on and on about the hot tub.
With the way that she used to be with her grandmother. He's like emotionally manipulating. Yeah.
He goes so far as to fake fights with, employees on the site, on the job site, relaying back to her every night all of the adventures of rehabbing this property.
Imagine having to take one 10-minute call a day and making like $100,000 in 3 months.
More than that, didn't she give him like 177,000? Isn't that what she said?
And then there was like
And she's like, can I see pictures? I want to see pictures. And he's like, no, it's so beautiful. It's too beautiful for a picture. You have to see it when it's fully done.
I'm
wait.
no photographer. I'm going to ruin it.
It just won't be as good. I want to see your face.
That's how he's good. You got to come.
And then he starts with my mom's not feeling very well, right? And then it turns into the funeral is in a bad neighborhood. And she's like, oh, I don't do bad neighborhoods.
She would have, but
he knew.
Yeah.
That was something she couldn't abide. And now he's got a sore throat. I mean, it's the equivalent of like slowly tiptoeing backwards out of a room and like hoping you get out the door and shut it before they catch on to what's going on.
But this is hitting over a month.
This was over months.
It was a month and a half.
Well, when he starts like ghosting her and
when it's like, well, he's been kind of unavailable for a month and a half, right?
Yeah. He doesn't show up to pick her up from her foot surgery.
That's pretty effed.
And finally, she says, "Where's my money?" And what's his response, T?
What money? You gave me that as a gift.
And then doubles down and even says, and gaslights her, "Stop being so selfish when I'm trying to grieve my mother." So Donna figures out this is a long con and she's a mark, and he's been putting in the work for months and months and months.
She even checks the online dating site. There he is.
And he knows that she's been conditioned to not confront him. He thinks that he's going to tiptoe backwards out of the room of her life, and she's not going to come after him.
No, sir.
But this bitch has been primed for years now. Those first two motherfuckers.
Yeah. That first time with that car, no.
Warm up.
That second time, she, like, beautifully planned the second time. But this third time, let's get some money out of it too, right?
He thinks that she's going to go away quietly, but she decides to do the opposite. And she said something just clicked. But I think, as I said before, I think she is always this badass. And I think her badass just showed up for herself right when it was supposed to. And that badass was there all along, but she didn't know the badass had actually arrived. It's pretty cool.
It's very empowering and inspiring. Yeah. I'm glad she's sharing her story.
Yes. And she goes after him in every which way possible. She contacted every law enforcement group, tax people, credit agencies, anything she could do to figure out what this guy was up to. And she did get the judgment and yay, judgment. But what does that mean? It turns out that there are enforcement companies that are out there to help enforce judgments, which I didn't know was a thing. Did you know that there was a thing? Of course there's a thing.
I didn't know that, but I did want to mention too, she got an extra 9% on top of what's owed.
Interest.
Which is great.
So she's like, what the hell? Well, I'll try this enforcement company, because she knows she's never going to see him like willingly give any money up.
Yeah.
And there's enforcement companies, because of course there's like businesses around getting money. That's a business. And they find an account with $21,000. And he had the audacity to ask her if she'd let him keep half, and then he could pay the rest on a weekly pay plan. And was there a part of you though that thought she was going to go for?
No way.
But that was like, he was like, if she's still the woman I think she is, I'm going to ask.
Well,
I'm going to
she
shoot
ain't.
my shot. And guess what? She ain't.
Well, she ain't.
And
Dumbass.
if any, I think that she had to say no. The fact that she didn't even consider it, it just shows how much growth she had. I think that's her finally escaping the empathy trap that she kept getting herself into. No, I don't want to say it like that. She wasn't getting herself into it. People were trapping her.
That's what
She
I
didn't
thought.
do anything wrong. Men were trapping her,
They were.
using her history and her good, kind heart against her. And and never let someone make you feel bad if you've done that, because that's not on you, that's on them. It's good to have empathy for people. It's good to trust people. It's good to help people. These guys are the douchebags.
Yes.
So it does feel like she's finally escaped that trap. And then I think it's really interesting that she goes to Jamaica.
Goes back.
She hasn't been there in 41. Why do you think she did that for herself?
How amazing is it to see how much you've grown and built a life?
Yeah.
And seeing your past and how sad you were,
and now she can like enjoy her home country as this new woman, as this new empowered woman, as a successful woman. She can kind of see all of the beauty for what it is, and not the beauty in spite of her longing or her loneliness, that she got to really kind of experience it for the first time. I think it's a really beautiful idea that she would go back to kind of the scene of where it all began, to experience it new.
Yeah.
Her new.
And I think she talks about like seeing how she was when she was younger and like taking care of her, you know?
Yeah. When she said, because she is me and I am her.
Yeah.
I think that might be our title.
Yeah.
And she's really forced to answer this question. How could she be a woman that stands in front of a boardroom?
I know. Oh my gosh.
That sings hard to sing songs in front of people.
Yeah.
But she couldn't be enough for herself to be alone.
It's these masks she's talking about too, right? Professionally wearing that mask and being on stage.
She said she has to peel back all of these layers and take care of the girl, that little girl, because she is me and I am her. And to be able to look at all of her major relationships and see them as transactional, and to know she doesn't want that again. I mean, huge, enormous steps in growth. And I think it's really cool that, I love when she said he should be ashamed, not her. And she has to forgive him because she can't leave him around in her mind stinking up, or she can't leave him stinking up her mind.
Truth.
I love that. And now she coaches women to escape victimhood, which I didn't know was a thing, but sounds awesome.
Yeah. But she's prioritizing herself.
Yeah. And it took her till she was, 54?
Is that okay?
You know, I think to anyone, to all of us who are still in it and trying to make relationships work, she's such a good example of like, keep going, keep learning, keep trying, keep opening yourself up. It's weird because when you're a kid, you think, when I get to some magical age, I don't know what it is, you're just going to know everything. You're going to have all your shit correct. Didn't you remember thinking that?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'll like, it's almost not even so like conscious. It's like, oh, well, that'll get worked out.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm still thinking that. sometime I'll figure it all out. I feel like I knew more back then than I know now.
No, there's no way.
But what I love, though, she is in a romantic relationship with a retired police officer. But of course, shout out, another background check. Love it.
You got
to. I love that.
And her man, he takes care of his own shit.
Yeah.
He has his own place. He has his own cars. Hugely important. I think she is such an inspiration, and she's led quite a dynamic life. And I think to have all those scars is that's what makes humanity. It's what makes humans beautiful.
And I love her last line. I don't know if I paraphrase, but I'm just fine enough. Just need to believe it.
Just need to believe it.
Huge. Not easy. Does she have a book or something?
Yes, she does. We'll put that in the show notes, y'all. It's something I think about with myself and other girls I know or women I know and her. It's like you can have success in every part of your life. You do well at your job. Your friends think you're amazing. Your family thinks you're amazing. Your dog thinks you're amazing. You have amazing things. You have
everything's great.
Everything in the universe is big green arrows pointing to how awesome you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just turn and look at the point of view of one man and give all of that power away and hand it over to him, and you trust him to put all of that validation back on you. And number one, he can't do it like those other things can. He's only supposed to be one of those things, not all of those things. But two, if he's even a little bit of a manipulator or a narcissist or a liar or a crook, he's going to see that he has that power, and he's never, ever going to give it to you. He's never going to validate you. It breaks my heart that we do that. You don't, but
I don't. Yeah.
I have, for sure.
I thought you were talking about me for a little while, but then you said the dog thing.
And you can be even in it and see it for totally what it is. And you still do it. But I just want to get the approval of that one loser.
Yeah. And then it convinces you.
And all of your friends are going, why? Why do you want the approval of that one loser? Why? We think you're awesome. Why? This to me is the great mystery of life.
I know.
Truly. Just hopefully it keeps becoming less and less with age. I mean, that's the hope. I just hate it that women or men, that anyone has to go through that and go through so many terrible relationships till they figure it out.
It's that damn empathy, double-edged sword.
And I think it's just self-loathing, self-hate. It's not, oh, my friends think I'm awesome, I must be awesome. It's, all my friends think I'm awesome, but they're probably wrong because this guy doesn't think I'm awesome, so I can't be awesome. Yeah. It's sicky.
That's sad.
Hug your daughter, T.
She went to soccer this morning, kicked ass, and I basically, like, I don't even know. I worshipped her to her face for about 30 minutes straight, telling her how awesome she is. And I love her so much.
What was her reaction?
Just love, man.
Yeah.
Hugging, loving.
Some asshole will rip all of that away at some point.
No.
All your good work, just up in a cloud of smoke.
No, but then she got mad about something like after that 30 minutes and started yelling. And I'm like, well, she is.
She'll be fine.
She'll be fine.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show where podcasts are kept. If you like us, please rate and review us on Apple or other places. Don't let the task overwhelm you. but Elly, I hate interneting. That's okay. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, rate us 5 stars, and write, I like it, I love it, I want some more of it. And that's it. It just takes seconds. And if you hate the ads, which we are sorry for the ads. I hate the ads too. T, you probably hate the ads.
I do.
Just give us 5 stars and write, I hate the ads.
But I love them.
Yes, that's gold. Thank you to Donna for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to the This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit, Missildine, and Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Trimboli. And thanks to the beautiful Cathy Sitzes for editing this episode, and the amazing pastor Katie Capel for building those blasted Instagram posts. You can contact us at traumabondedpod@gmail.com and find us on Instagram at traumabondedpodofficial, or visit our website at traumabondedpod.com. We are trauma bonded to the story, to the storyteller, to the listeners, and to each other. Thanks for spending time with us today. Love you, T.
Love you, Elly.